Yo, what's good? It's Mastermind MMA. And before I say anything, I just have one question. What in the fuck of the history of all fucks was that? And what I'm referring to is UFC 200. I have no idea what that was. I've never been so pumped up for a card to the polar opposite of being equally as disappointed in a card and let down in a card as this card. Now, it starts with John Jones. We have to speak about John Jones because that's the unraveling of everything. Now, on my channel, I uploaded the press conference where John Jones addressed the allegations and the pre fight press conference, which was with John, DC, Brock, everyone. Those are on my channel, all courtesy of SB Nation. And it's the pre-fight press conference is nothing but blue balls at this point because we don't know what's gonna happen, and the press conference with John is pretty sad. And if you guys listen to my other videos, you know that John Jones is my favorite fighter. Uh, Now I have to address that. Not the fact that he's my favorite fighter. He's still my favorite fighter. But dude, shit hurt my heart, man. Like keeping it real that John Jones tested dirty for something, that shit fucking it hurts, bro. It's like what in all the fuck? But John Jones, is he a cheater? Is he not? I can, since nothing is out there really yet, I can only speak on my opinion and my speculation, which really isn't counted for much, but it's it's all I have at this point regarding this. So personally, I don't think John Jones is a cheater. I don't think he intentionally took things. I don't think he took any steroids or anything. Tainted supplement, possibly. If you really want what I think about it, I think that he might have honestly he might have just mixed some supplements that together created this, or maybe it is a tainted supplement. I don't know. All I know is I don't think it's anything intentional. People are trying to say, oh, John Jones does coke. John Jones smokes. John Jones does all this and yada yada yada. Okay, you might be right about that, but that's totally different than this. John Jones doing recreational drugs is a total separate issue. I don't think it's linked up. Oh, if John Jones does coke, he'll do steroids. I saw Chael Sonnen talking about it, and all right, real quick insert. I like Chael's. He's entertaining. Listening to him is entertaining, and his opinions are entertaining. But I take things that he says with a motherfucking bottle of salt. Fuck a grain. I take that shit with a bottle of fucking Morton's kosher salt, because I can't. Chael Sonnen, you know how Dominic Cruz calls Uriah Faber a car salesman? That's all. Bro, fucking Chael Sonnen is the epitome of a car salesman. Because he flip-flops, he says what he thinks would be the right thing to say, and he tries to play that red-blooded steak-eating American character, and he just really plays to that stereotype. He identifies as a Republican, and this channel is not for politics or anything like that, but anybody that bases their views and their personality if their go-to identifier is by a political party, they're either pretentious or very dry. And I say that because, first of all, if you are it's literally being very black and white about things. And Chael Sonnen was like, oh, as a Republican, I don't want men in between my legs in regards to jiu-jitsu. Well, motherfucker, that's why you got triangle choked by Anderson Silva, a fight you were winning. But that I'm not being serious about that, man. But he says things and he tries. Listen, he thinks about business, and his target demographic is what he's gonna identify with, and that's your middle-aged, blue-collar man. You know, because any guy around the motherfucking water fountain is gonna identify with Chael Sonnen that works at a cubicle. Now, he was saying, oh, John Jones does coke and he does this. Motherfucker, if you were in your early 20s around millions of with millions of dollars, literally the greatest fighter, the greatest sport, that's like being fucking Michael Jordan. That's like being Muhammad Ali in his prime. That's like being essentially a rock star. But not quite, because for some reason with athletics, they hold like a bullshit morality standard. I don't know why. I don't know why they just can't let people be people and just let them do what they want without having to judge them. Because if the public didn't fucking judge them, they wouldn't have to put on that fake facade. People call John fake, but when he's open about shit, that's all he fucking hears about. When he's open about smoking and how he would party and when he'd smoke and drink and blow lines occasionally, that's all people refer him to. That's all they try to dwindle him down to. No wonder he's not trying to put that shit out in the forefront. Especially with DC's punk pussy bitch ass. I fucking hate DC. You know, I'm not even going to get into that at this moment. That's happening in this video, and I will address it. But DC, you are a punk bitch. Fuck you. Fuck everything that you touch or do. And I just fucking hate DC. Now, before I go too far there, I don't think John Jones cheated intentionally. Even if he did, that's on him. And yes, this is, regardless of what the circumstance is, out of everything he's done, this is the only real thing to affect his legacy. This is the only real thing that is an asterisk to his pound for pound legacy. Because it is regarding PEDs. My opinion, I don't think he did anything intentionally. Dana White doesn't even think he did anything intentionally. Something came up in his test. Something came up on his test. I don't know why they waited till motherfucking Thursday to announce this bullshit. I'm talking about USADA. Like, okay, if something came up and they're testing it and testing it and testing it, you see, this is what makes me skeptical. Because Brock Lesnar can have a motherfucking exemption for something, and UFC is behind that. UFC said USADA give him an exemption. And I'm saying that to say this. Brock, alright, fuck that Brock shit. But he got an exemption to a rule. Not he got tested when he came back, but that 4 months, whatever. Now, for USADA to not even notify the UFC that, hey, there's a possibility of something, we're continually testing it, but you're gonna maybe have to set something up. You know, I don't really buy that shit. that it just blindsided them and this shit came out of nowhere. Because if it was NSAC, maybe, and that's the athletic commission. If it was the athletic commission, maybe, but they work for the UFC. Their contract is under the UFC. UFC is their boss. Now the athletic commission it's essentially a government body. Like it's a government thing. It's like the fucking post office. So they don't work for the UFC. They work with the UFC. Now USADA works for the UFC. That's the difference. Now, so they just blindsided the UFC with the possible sale being in and the biggest card in the history of the UFC, and just leave them to run around like motherfucking headless chickens. All right, whatever. I guess that's what I have to take because that's what I'm given. Doesn't make sense, but that's what they're saying what happened, right? We'll go off of that. Now, if John Jones was, I just don't see how they just slap him and just take him off the card like that in 2 days. All right, so it is what it is. They took him off the card, and now they're running around. I gotta start addressing this DC shit. People are feeling bad for DC. People were out of nowhere. DC went from being the hated figure, from being the bad guy, to being the sympathetic figure, to being the hero, to being kind of honestly being viewed as how he wants to be viewed. Putting himself out like that, the honest, hardworking, yada, 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 yada. First off, DC should not be in this picture at all whatsoever. And I'm saying that because DC should not have even been on UFC 200. This should have been something revolving solely around John Jones. Because people, the DC John Jones fight was made 4 times. Well, guess what? First time John got injured fucking sparring with Alistair. So, what can you do? And second time they actually fought. John Jones won a unanimous decision. Took DC down 3 or 4 times. I believe it was 3 out of 4 attempts. And like John Jones said, put his hand on his head like his bitch. Won that fight easily. Wasn't even pushed in that fight. And we come to the third time. 197. Where DC pulls out with an injury that till this day nobody knows what the fuck it is. How are you going to have an injury so bad that you pull out of the fight and the Monday after the fight you're announcing a fight and coming up within the matter of weeks, like in 7 weeks, 8 weeks? That, if anything has that much of a time where you could turn around like that, that is not a serious injury. That is not. So DC pulls out, and his whole story was he knew he was a punk bitch that was scared. He pulls out of the fucking fight. 197 should have been the death of Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier should have been taken care of out of this fucking picture because it's been dragging for so long. This is a fight that no one asked for. This is a fight that no one ever wanted to fucking see again. But whatever. They try to build it into this big rivalry that comes close. It's not. John Jones owned DC. It's on to the next one. So they're trying to keep the sale. The promotional material was good, but at the end of the day, John, what did fucking 197 do? Like 300 something buys. DC should have gotten his probably 250 for his fucking 250 disclosed pay and whatever pay-per-view points from 197. But no, if you guys go back to my videos, I talk about DC's plan from the moment he announced the injury. The moment he pulled out of the fight, I said DC knows he's losing this belt. He's pulling out just so when he speaks in retrospect, he could say, at UFC 200 on it's gonna say on the premiere, it's gonna say my name first. On the biggest card in the history, it's gonna say Cormier versus Jones 2 with my name leading the marquee. That's all he ever wanted. And I did not know this till recently, but Daniel Cormier was gonna get $1 million disclosed pay. That's not including points or any discretionary bonuses or anything. Daniel Cormier was gonna get the motherfucking same disclosed pay as Conor McGregor got at 196. The highest disclosed pay of any fighter in the UFC history up until the Brock Lesnar disclosed pay, which was $2.5 million. Now, I said from the beginning, from when he pulled out, this is what he wanted to do. He got his way. The Conor bullshit happened. Everything unraveled. He fucking weaseled his toothless bitch ass in, and he's good. And it wasn't even DC. It was more John Jones. It was more the return of John Jones. That's what this whole thing was. That's what 197 was supposed to be. 197 was the return of John Jones. Back to greatness. We're all good. And 200, John Jones would have turned around and fought anyway, and it would have been the continuation of his legacy. DC's in the rearview mirror. He's in motherfucking Cain Velasquez's chest, crying, and that would have been that. And he probably would have retired, and he would have been in those expensive suits provided by Fox, which he doesn't bother to even get tailored. And he would have been behind the desk as an analyst. Now, John Jones gets pulled from the card. And now, people saw Embedded and people saw that reaction of DC. And they're like, wow, I gained respect for DC. But bro, fucking DC is not crying over the fact he's not fighting John Jones. DC is crying over the fucking... He's pissed about the fact that it's his payday. Everything just boils down to dollars and cents at the end of the motherfucking day. To most people, dollar and cents is the only thing that makes sense. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So, he was crying over that $1 million disclosed payday, those pay-per-view points, and a check ripped away from him. That's the only DC said he was gonna sign a release. Yeah, because he wants to get paid. It's not like his pride is he wants to avenge his only loss. No, he just wanted the money. And he's been... The buildup has been since fucking April. So DC has been planning how he's going to spend this money for a while. I'm sure he would have wanted to buy something nice or maybe do this, do that. It's millions of dollars. So at the end of the day, it's big business, and he was right place, right time, right weasel move, and he weaseled his way to millions. Now, now he doesn't have any money, and he just wants it. When it comes to getting paid that day, I don't know anything about his bitch ass finances, but and that was his emotion. That, I mean, how the fuck would you feel if someone said, "Yeah, all you got to do is for just go do your job and you get millions of dollars. One night, millions of dollars." Now, I know that they put in time, training camp, all that, but essentially, one night, millions of dollars. Who wouldn't be pissed about that? Who wouldn't be distraught about that? Even if John Jones finished him, he could wipe his motherfucking tears with Benjamins. Who gives a fuck? That's why he was pissed. Not anything about his legacy and his pride. And what furthermore backs that up is, okay, they get Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, arguably the greatest of all time, steps in. Now, a huge part of me wish that DC was the one taken off of the card and it was John Jones versus Anderson Silva. How epic would that be? Even if the whole card was straight dog diarrhea shit, that fight right there would be it. How many fight cards have been so boring and the main event or the co-main event or both was so good that it nullifies everything? And that's the only thing on people's memories, how good the main event was, how good the co-main was. Fucking UFC Fight Night Boston, Dillashaw versus Cruz. That fight card was straight. The way it played out was not good. It was boring. But you see, I don't remember that because all I remember is how good the Dominic Cruz fight was and the TJ Dillashaw fight was. Dominic regaining his crown. That's what sticks out. And, you know, even if this was a regular fight card, how it played out, it was ass. Ass. Motherfucking the Fight Pass card on Thursday with Dos Anjos and Eddie Alvarez was more entertaining than that dog shit. You had the Alan Jouban fucking Bilal Muhammad fight where Jouban knocks this motherfucker down 3-4 times and this motherfucker comes back swinging for the fences in the third round. And you have Derek Lewis and Royal Nelson, which was disappointing for the aspect of Roy Nelson. Man, you're one of the. It was supposed to be a motherfucking home run tournament. It was supposed to be a home run contest. Yet this motherfucker was just trying to hold him down. He didn't want to get hit. And it's like, bro, that fucking ruins your legacy. Like, that ruins part of who Roy Nelson is. And I'm sure the Black Beast was not calling Roy Nelson out to fucking outgrind him. Nah, he wanted to fucking swing. And I like Derek Lewis a lot, man. He's slowly bubbling to becoming one of my favorite heavyweights because this motherfucker comes to knock heads off. Anyway, this isn't that Fight Night card review. But fucking Dos Anjos Alvarez, the titles change hands in dramatic fashion. Dos Anjos was getting his fucking face bashed in, but he was not dropping. I mean, he got dropped, but he didn't even get dropped. He got wobbled hardcore, but this motherfucker's ass did not touch the canvas. And he was a straight soldier about it, man. you and Eddie Alvarez, props to you, man. Like, I mean, Eddie Alvarez wasn't really on my radar that hardcore. I saw him in the Pettis fight. That was my first impression of him, really. So that left a bad taste in my mouth because of how he just held Pettis against the fence. But when he showed up the way he showed up, he gained a whole bunch of respect from me. Now, I heard about Eddie Alvarez and how he would be, the motherfucker swinging, but I didn't see it, and I didn't bother to go back and look for it because of that Pettis performance. Now, Eddie Alvarez has me as a fan because he proved himself. Now, okay, that fight went good. I didn't even watch any other fight except for the Claudia Gadelha and Gadelha, whatever, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight. That was a decent fight, and I didn't bother watching any real part of the undercard. I watched Dillashaw Sunsao up. So I watched the Dillashaw Sunsao, Kelvin Gastelum Hendricks. Kelvin Gastelum's a beast, man. Real crisp striking, real nice fluidity, level changing movement. He did good, man. He's on the map now, like top 10 most definitely. He's got to be top 6 with that. But Kelvin, and then Juliana Cat, good for Juliana. She was losing, came back, won. So that was entertaining. Now we hit the pay-per-view. Cain Velasquez came in like a motherfucking beast. I respect Cain. I like Cain Velasquez for that. Honestly, Cain was the fucking standout of the card. The first fight was the standout of the card. Finished Travis Browne in the first round in phenomenal fucking fashion. Awesome. Good job, Cain. He won that shit. He won that fight. Then it moves on to Jose Frankie. Now, Jose Aldo looked good. It was more technical. So it's really one of those fights which is high paced, and the volume of it is high. Lots of strikes are being thrown, especially by Frankie. But the excitement wasn't all the way there. It was a lot of action. It was a lot of movement. Great fight. It was a technical war, but it lacked. And they did everything right, man. It's nothing against Jose. It's nothing against Frankie. Honestly, I don't even think I'd be analyzing the fight this hard if the rest of the card was like followed. Cause it excuse me, really puts them to a point where that was almost the climax of it, man. Like, to a point. Like, that was part of the peak of the card. Cain came out storming that shit like a beast and finished it. Seeing that Cain Travis fight is like, oh, we're at 200, let's go. And I was so disappointed from John Jones being off the card. I couldn't really get excited about it. Any other fight card, like, I could get excited about. But this one I really couldn't, man. It didn't have that special feeling. It went from having such a special feeling to, I can't even get pumped for this. Like, I can't even get excited for this shit. Now, You have that. Then, Frankie Jose was a technical war. It wasn't even a chess match, but it was a very technical fight. Jose went for a little more defensive counter. His timing was good. He got his timing down. He got his timing down a lot on that knee, especially. His counters were good. Frankie was swinging. Frankie was going for it. Good on them. Good fight. You know what? Like, take away any criticism I said for it. I was just expressing my feeling. I shouldn't really criticize it. It was a good fight. Then we go to motherfucking... This shit just boils my blood. This shit pisses me off to a degree of aggravation that I've never ever had for a fight. You have Anderson Silva, pound for pound, one of the greatest. You have a legend, one of the greatest legends of this sport, stepping in against someone he shouldn't even be in the ring with. Meaning that Anderson Silva's opponent is not on his level. And then you have that punk, toothless, fucking piece of shit Daniel Cormier. The piece of shit DC. POS DC. He just leg humped Anderson. He was just dry humping the shit of Anderson for 15 minutes. I've never seen someone be such a fucking bitch. You had the full training camp. You said you had the best training camp of your life. You criticized John Jones for his performance against OSP when you were too pussy to show up. You called John Jones a bum for standing in front of someone and fucking fighting. John Jones was active that entire fight. John Jones wasn't fucking holding him against the gate, holding him on the floor, fucking him. No. John Jones was throwing that entire fight. John Jones came close to finishing that fight multiple times. John Jones, when he took OSP to the ground, did it in motherfucking phenomenal fashion and was bashing his fucking head in. John Jones broke OSP's arm. And you had the full training camp. You're training for John Jones, who is a tall, lanky, incredible striker who can wrestle. So you planned on just holding John Jones against the fence? Guess what? You can't. So you planned on just whatever your plan was, you wouldn't have been able to do it. John Jones would have dictated everything in that fight. You say you're fighting someone different on 2 days' notice when you couldn't get more of a similar opponent. You can't get anyone more similar in styles than, which is, you're actually getting someone a better matchup for you. Because John Jones' striking is creative and loose and amazing, just like Anderson's is. The difference between Anderson Silva and John Jones is John Jones does not have a weakness in wrestling. John Jones can't get held down. That's the main difference. You can't hold John Jones down. You can hold Anderson Silva down. And for maybe that 30-second window of every beginning of every round where DC's bitch ass decided to stand, Anderson was landing. Bro, DC even landed a nice right hand on Anderson. And you had the full training camp. This guy's coming off of motherfucking gallbladder surgery on 2 days notice, and you're eating fucking pizza at weigh-ins, not even training, not even sparring, probably not even fucking hitting a speed bag. And you're the one that goes in a desperation mode and holds him to the ground. When you won the championship against AJ, you just held him to the fucking cage and held him to the ground. That's all. You stood against Gustafsson. I'll give you that. But you almost got finished. Before he fought John Jones the first time, John, I want you to give me the dog fight. I want a dog fight. Bruh. But when the dog fight came, you can't chew the bone, bitch. You can't do anything, man. Gustafsson almost finished you. Gustafsson, if he just added more strikes towards the championship rounds, would have been the light heavyweight champion in John's absence. But that was the only fight where you actually stood there and really fucking exchanged. So when you have an opportunity, when you win the paper championship by default, when your title is meaningless, when fans don't respect you, when fans are booing you, and when you have an opportunity to turn everything around, to put yourself in the discussion of greatness, you hold it down and hump it away. That was the beginning of the end of UFC 200. Because that was the only thing that could have brought any hype to it. Even if DC got fucked up, I would have respected him for standing and trading with Anderson. He was so critical of John against OSP. And he does this shit. Does nothing but cashes a check. All he did was cash a check on yesterday. On the 9th of July, he just got a check. That was it. And he was so giddy and happy that it was Anderson Silva, not to be, man, I could be great, not to bring a legacy, man. Now people could really see me as a champion, a true champion, because I beat someone who was a champion. No. He was all giddy, showing his missing fucking tooth, because he was like, I could fucking leg hump someone for 15 minutes. I can hold Anderson Silva down, because he saw what Chael did. I wish Anderson won that fight more than anything. That would be amazing for the division. That sets up a John Jones Anderson Silva super fight. That sets up Anderson getting his title back from his division he dominated against someone who he beat already. Because I don't give a fuck what the officials say. I don't give what the record book says. I don't give a fuck what any commission in the world says. Everybody knows Anderson Silva won that fight against Michael Bisping. How someone gets knocked the fuck out and they win a fight? How? How does someone get front kicked to the motherfucking face, stumbling back like they just downed to 750 milliliters of fucking Bacardi 151, and they win that fight? Anderson Silva won that fight. Anderson Silva should have gotten the title shot against Luke Rockhold. If Anderson Silva fought that Luke Rockhold, he would have beat him. Anderson Silva should have had his belt back. But he steps up to a weight class he's undefeated in and does things. And his last fight at 205 was a fucking Stephan Bonner fight. So you cannot tell me that Anderson Silva does not look amazing in this weight class. Now, he was looking amazing striking. He almost finished. He hurt DC. He hurt DC in that total of 1 minute and 30 seconds that DC stood in front of him. In that time, he almost fucking finished DC. But DC, that was the only chance of saving this card. Because the only thing that made this card so stacked was the John Jones being on the card. Everything else was just sprinkles and cherry on top. John Jones being on the card is what made this the greatest fight card of all time. And if John Jones went in there and finished DC, UFC 200 would have went down as the greatest motherfucking fight card in the history. But guess what? It doesn't. 199 was amazing you see, 199 was so fucking good. That fight card, who the fuck was on that fight card, man, compared to 200? Dustin Poirier, Bobby Green, Dan Henderson, and Hector Lombard, Max Holloway, Ricardo Lamas. I'm not disrespecting these people. I have high respect for these people. But what I'm saying is their names compared to the names of that was on 200 on paper, 200 should have been the stacked card. Honestly, 199 was almost like a leftover compared to the 200 matchups. I don't believe that. I don't view it as that. But from like a matchup point of view, by a name point of view, you could say that. But 199 was amazing. Poirier with the motherfucking finish. Dan Henderson with a dramatic fucking finish. Max Holloway, Ricardo Lamas throwing fucking hands, technical, striking. People just straight high level elite fighting. From bell to bell to bell to bell. Dominic Cruz, Uriah Faber, amazing. Bisping Rockhold, what? A crazy upset no one even saw coming. 199 in the books. Wow. So, an amazing card. Everything all said and done in the rear view mirror from the moment 199 did, from that moment that motherfucking pay-per-view ended, we were all like, wow. That was an amazing fight card. From start to motherfucking finish. I could have literally just stood up and gave a standing ovation to 199. And because that card was so good, that got you even more pumped for 200. You're like, what? That was 199? That was the fight card before the greatest fight card of all time? Let's go. Let's go, UFC 200. And we got straight dog shit. The Fight Pass card was better than that, bro. On a Thursday. Like, are you serious? Now, even with John Jones off the card, that fight card should have been strong enough to be satisfying. It felt like a waste of time. UFC 200, I've never been so disappointed in a fight card, man. And the thing is, it's not Dana White's fault. It's not the Fertitta's fault. It's not Joe Silva's fault. If you want to pin it on people, man, the people to blame for this card being asshole dog shit is DC, Brock Lesnar, and USADA. And John Jones, man, I don't want to say it, but because because John Jones wasn't there, this card is asshole. This card was unwiped asshole. That's what it was. Now, if DC just stood with Anderson, this fight card could have been better. Not the greatest of all time, the fight card, but it could have been decent. DC fucked that up. Fucked all momentum and killed it. Brock Lesnar, I can't even fault Brock Lesnar because you know what you're getting into. That is Brock Lesnar. That's his style. Everyone was saying the only way he could win this fight was getting Mark on the ground and ground and pound. We all knew that. It was whose will was going to be imposed. Mark Hunt or Brock Lesnar. I can't even fault Brock Lesnar that much because I really wasn't expecting anything different from him. Now, from the fight, I thought Mark Hunt was going to sleep him early. But from Brock, I can't be mad at that, and I'm happy for him. DC, you're a bitch, man. And I'm starting to think, bro, UFC needs to just start implementing some pride rules. They need to start finding people for boring fights. Because this bullshit wrestling with people holding people against the fence. Motherfucker, this is not the NCAA. This is not the Olympics. This is not wrestling. This is not wrestling. This is mixed martial arts. This is Muay Thai. This is kickboxing. This is jiu-jitsu. Wrestling is a factor of it, yes. But if you're just gonna hold somebody on the ground and throw flurries of punches, nobody wants to see that, man. Maybe if you're doing spectacular takedowns, yeah. But no one wants to see anybody just go in and hold someone. And this is no shot at wrestling. This is every shot at people in the UFC that do nothing but wrestle and put on boring performances just to edge out a win. Motherfucker, if you don't want to trade hands, don't fight. Be a wrestling coach, man. Go to universities and go do things at the highest level and get a job teaching. Coaching and teaching wrestling. No one wants to see you implement a majority of wrestling in the UFC. I don't give a fuck who you are, man. That's what brings down GSP's legacy. That's why no one really likes Johnny Hendricks. And Johnny Hendricks was even throwing hands. He tried holding for a little bit, but that shit didn't fly. Man, this shit was just I've never been more frustrated with a fight card. Especially one that was so hyped up. 199 was so much better than it. 198, I only got to catch the co-main and main event. 197 was pretty good. 196, co-main and main event was really good. 195 main event was spectacular, amazing, one of the best fights. 194, that whole week was good. 193, mainstream upset. What was 192 Gus in fucking DC? This is me all off the top of the head. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what was 192 DC Gus? Good fight. Fight card was boring, but good fight. Good main event. Good war. $189. Amazing fight card. I just went back a year. 200 was straight ass. 200 was straight dog shit. 200 was one of the shittiest fight cards in a 365-day span of the year. Out of all the fight cards I just listed dating back to last July, 200 is the weakest. 200 is on the bottom of the list. 200 left me feeling like I wasted my time. 200 sucked. You see, and now I can't even depend on names anymore. Because 199 didn't have any big star power names. If you're a bit like if you're into MMA and into fighting, you know those fighters. So, and it really came through. It came the fuck through. And 200 didn't. With the exception of Kane and Jose Frankie. Because they did their part. They met their requirements. They put on good performances. They held up their end of the deal. No one else did. And Misha Amanda, that was so good. I was so... You know, it's so unfair to Misha and Amanda. But I was so to the pit of disappointment I couldn't even get pumped for that fight. When it was happening. When you could see Amanda Tate taking... I mean, I said Amanda Tate, wow. When you could see Amanda Nunes taking out Misha Tate. I couldn't get excited because I was so disappointed. And another belt changes hands. The bantamweight title can't even be defended once, which is a lot more credit to Ronda for holding on to it for so long. Because to be honest, you thought, it was said once Holly got the belt, she was going to be the dominant force. Misha took her out, and Misha got the belt. Then Amanda took her out. Now... No, we don't know what to do. I mean, we shouldn't say we don't know what to do, but you have Ronda if she comes back, Holly Holm if she wins, Juliana Pena. Those are top three. And I think honestly, what's going to determine that is all timing. It's going to be the timing of things, what their performance is. If Ronda comes back, regardless of anyone else's performance, she's going to get that shot. Holly wins that fight, it might just be Holly. Because that could set up a Misha Tate rematch. That could set up a Ronda Rousey rematch. That now money comes back into the picture. Amanda Nunes, as great of a fighter as she is, there's no money in her being champ. No one knows her. When we're talking about in comparison to Ronda, Holly, Misha. Juliana Pena, she has star potential. But it's just depressing that fight card. Literally, it brings down my mood. Literally, it's nothing but a large disappointment. Literally, I've never seen something be more hyped up and coming out as shitty. It was a disappointment to disappointments. It was the creme de la creme of disappointments. And they confirmed Bisping Hendo 2. Here's my problem with it. With that. You guys should know my stance on Michael Bisping. But if you don't listen to the last episode of the podcast. And I've been going on so long, this shit turned into episode 4 of the podcast. This is going to be a quick 200 video, but guess what? You're listening to episode 4 of the Mastermind MMA podcast. Bisping lost against Anderson Silva. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Lost against Anderson. Beat Luke fair and square. But not taking anything away from Bisping. But he won. He knocked Luke out. He did his part. But Luke Rockhold beat Luke Rockhold more than Michael Bisping did. Rockhold beat himself in that fight. He got way too cocky. He got way too arrogant. Got way too smug, quote unquote. And he paid the price. A regular Luke Rockhold, it doesn't go down that way. But anyway, it is what it is. It played out the way it played out. Cool. Now, if Bisping was fighting Jacare, I would respect that. But he's fighting Dan Henderson. Guy ranked number 14th, I think. Guy not even in the top 10. Legend of the sport. This takes nothing away from Dan, who had an amazing knockout of Hector Lombard, who's an unranked welterweight, but he's a top tier guy. Henderson's a legend of the sport. He knocked out Hector Lombard the same night Michael Bisping knocked out Luke. Here's my issue with this fight being set up as a championship bout. If Bisping was so itching, if he was so itching to avenge that loss, that he just can't wait, that has to be his next fight, where the fuck was Michael Bisping when Lyoto Machida got pulled from the card? Where? Because he was on Twitter. He was talking about the situation, but never, not once, did he throw his hat in the motherfucking ring. All he did was go on Twitter and complain about how many people in the top 10 were popped for PEDs, how many people are on steroids, yada, yada, yada. Not one time did I hear him volunteer to avenge the loss against Hendo. He never threw his hat in the fucking ring. He was somewhere to be found on Twitter talking shit, but not to set up a fight, not to avenge a loss. And when Kung Lee got fucking popped for whatever he got popped, Bisping said he didn't care because he didn't lose. But when you're getting knocked out by motherfuckers on steroids, then you're a catalyst for the cause and you're a martyr for a clean sport and blah, blah, blah. Where the fuck were you when when Hendo needed an opponent? Where? Nowhere. Where the fuck were you when your opportunity to avenge your loss that you want so bad was presented to you? Nowhere. Talking shit. All you were doing was just talking shit for no reason, without any point. But now you have the belt. You have the number 2 ranked guy in the world shitting on you every fucking day, Chris Weidman. You have the number 1 ranked guy in the world who calling you out for a rematch. You have Jacare, a top contender, asking for the fight. Yet you jump to the number 14 guy who you had the chance, who needed an opponent months earlier, needed a fight. You see, if Bisping stepped up and fought Hendo when Machida got pulled, Hendo would not be on 199. Only reason Hendo was on 199 against Hector Lombard is because Machida got pulled. If Bisping stepped in there, you had your chance to avenge your loss and you didn't. So why the fuck are you doing it now? Because you want to hang on to the belt, you bitch. You won it legit. Can't take that away from you. You won the belt in a legit fashion. But let's not act like this matter is so pressing to avenge this loss. Anyway. I know the tone of this episode is very much different than it is, but this is the mood I'm in today. I'm fucking outraged, bro. I think every fan of this sport, every fan of the UFC should be outraged right now. I'm gonna say this shit straight up. I don't pay for pay-per-views. I don't. And it's not like I have an issue with support, but it's just the uncertainty of shit like this. If I paid $60 for this dog shit, if I'm this pissed off, if I'm this angry for watching this shit, with however I watch it, it just magically appears. If I'm this pissed off on just watching it, and this is no admitting to doing anything outside of the law. I could be going to bars and watching it. So this is no admitting or any evidence to anything. But if I were to actually just order it and pay my hard-earned money for it, I'd be fucking beyond pissed off, man. I'm just pissed off as a fan. I don't know where to go from here. I don't know what to say. I'm just never the direction they were heading. Everything was essentially building to this. From the moment 196 happened, every fight card that was announced was just leading up to UFC 200. And the build-up was amazing. Bro, this was all pumps, no orgasm. UFC 200 was supposed to be the nut. It was supposed to be the best nut of the lifetime. But this shit was just really good pumping from 197, pump, 198, pump, 199, almost, and then 200, nothing. It's just like, you're 199, almost, and then fucking inversion. Flaccid inversion. That's what 200 was, man. And Kane did good. Aldo and Frankie did good. I can't take that away. If this shit was just a regular pay-per-view, man, I wouldn't be this pissed. But it was supposed to be the greatest fight card of all time, and on paper, with John Jones on it, it sounded like it. So, maybe, dude, honestly, I think if John Jones was on it, it wouldn't have been the best fight card, but it wouldn't have been this bad. John Jones could have salvaged it. Even if it was an exact replicate of the fight of their last fight of Jones and DC, it still would have saved this entire card. And DC had a chance to save this card, but he didn't. He just decided to hump Anderson Silva. And, I'm so pissed off about it. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I've talked about it ad nauseum. Closing notes. Fuck DC. Fuck the gap in his teeth. Fuck his missing tooth. And fuck him. That's the main takeaway. Because if DC stood with Anderson, this fight card could have been so much better. Because that would have been if DC stood with Anderson Silva, there would be no lull, really. Because that would have been Kane doing good. Frankie Jose doing good. DC, if he stood, he would have done good. Brock Lesnar coming through and winning, which was good. And Amanda Nunes knocking Miesha Tate out in the first round. But DC killed all the momentum that fight card had in it. I blame one person, and that's Daniel bitch-ass Cormier. Fuck DC, he's a BA. That's his name. BA, bitch-ass. You already know it's Mastermind MMA. And I'm out. I'm pissed later.